Welcome and hello there. Welcome back to the shed. It's me, your man in the shed, Andy P. Hope you're all well and life is good. So, yesterday I done a little video on a trip to the tip. I've just remembered a story I can tell you about a different trip to the tip. So, when I was a kid, couldn't tell you how old, maybe between 8 and 13. And my dad used to go to the tip, like, all right, Ants, come on, you can give me a hand. I don't bother with my boys because it's easier to do it on your own. Anyway, in these days, you used to have the containers in, being from that I am off of the past. So health and safety wasn't quite as stringent as it is nowadays. And they had the bins and they were lower section than where the actual people were. So there we are, we're throwing our rubbish in, and somehow I trip. Who knew I would trip? Not exactly Mr. Coordinated, am I? And I fall down between the bin and the wall. Oh my God, I'm stuck. Help, get me out, get me out. Eventually, someone did pull me up, but it just reminded me, and I thought, yeah, that was pretty funny. Thought I'd give you that one to go with my great stories of the tip yesterday. As I say, make friends with the people there. You might get a coffee when you're going there 6 or 7 times when we get back to normal. Anyway, so what are we going to talk about today? Oh, cup of coffee. Come on, Mickey Mouse. Pirates of the Caribbean cup there today. I don't know if you can see that. So I've had this cup, getting on for 10 years. Got it from Disneyland Paris. If you haven't been, it's worth a visit. I liked it. There you go. You can send me the commission when this one has 1 million views. Or just send me a free holiday. That would be fantastic. Anyway, as that's not going to happen because I don't think the full regular viewers are going to quite watch it enough times to get me 1 million views. Let's not worry too much about that. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about time travel because, it's one of those things, we've had Doctor Who and programs like this where people have gone back to the past or go to the future. Is it really going to be a good idea? Even if the physicists, if that's the right word, could come up, and if that's the right science as well, could come up with a proper time machine like a TARDIS, would it really be good? Like, I know with the TARDIS, it is set so that everybody speaks Gallifreyan, which sounds a bit like English to me, but hey. If we were to go back, let's say, I want to go back and see William Shakespeare. To start with, it would be okay if you couldn't catch any of the diseases and you couldn't smell the area. Because let's be fair, the past was most definitely worse because you have no way of fighting these illnesses. Let's be fair, you go back, let's say we go back to 1448, between 1448 1450, when Europe had the Black Death. Would you really want to go back and risk that? We had no antibodies, we had no way of understanding even how washing your hands would be a good idea. You go back to 100 years, the trench warfare of the First World War. The doctors and nurses, they weren't cleaning their hands between each victim, so basically the bacteria for one is just part of the other. No wonder gangrene and people died of, let's be fair, a lot of them had illnesses and blown to bits and they probably would have died anyway. But then you look at, soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan, God bless them, who have come back with horrific injuries, but they, with modern medicine and modern hygienes, have been able to survive, and that's a great thing. But sadly these things do happen. So would really be going back for the safety of not getting the illnesses. We are so lucky nowadays that we have the medicines that we do, which can keep us alive. without insulin, yours truly would really struggle to live being a diabetic. But there you are, And there's many other illnesses out there. The cancer cares that we have nowadays. Okay, they don't cure everyone, and they don't unfortunately save anyone. And I've got enough people in my family who have sadly died from that illness, but they do help to prevent or reduce the chances in many cases, especially if it's caught early. But going back to the past, I'm not sure how long diabetes, for example, something I've got, has been around, but if I'd had that, say, 100 years ago, yeah, I would have died from it because I'm sure there wasn't insulin, and if there was, I'm sure it isn't to the standard that it is nowadays. With this, to be fair, our modern pandemic going around the world, with our modern medicines, yeah, it's still horrific, and it's sorry, excuse me, it is horrific, and it's still shocking just how bad this has affected the whole planet. The thing is, on our news, we know how bad it is in the UK, certain parts of Europe, the US, Brazil, South Africa, but we don't really get told too much about Asia. You got somewhere like India, I'm sure it's horrific there. And the thing is, in England, where we report it correctly, we have an NHS system, so therefore the way we record it daily, and it is recorded daily, is possibly different to, let's say, Europe. They don't have a health system in Europe, and they might think, oh, hang on, we say they died of something else. Who's to say that everyone is being recorded properly? Who's to say that some of the cases in England aren't just put down to coronavirus because that's a better statistic than ours? I'm not saying that's done, but you can't tell me that there aren't other places in the world which haven't, especially with the big metropolises that there are, haven't had it as bad or worse than the UK, because we have a world-class medical facilities here. We've got this vaccine. Get my vaccine on Friday. That's a big thumbs up from me. And I would recommend to the 4 people that watch this video, get your vaccine when it's offered. Why? Why would you think twice? It's been approved. They are not going, and the chief medical officer, if Boris Johnson told you, oh yeah, it's been approved, I could understand. Yeah, whatever, Boris. But if these chief medical officers, who aren't, aligned to a political party, but they are the chief medical officers, they're a bit like, those other people who work for the government. Can't think of their names. But, they work, whether it was a Labour government, whether it was a Conservative government, Liberal Democrats, the loony parties. Not sure how that one would go down. But they work with these people because that's what they do. Anyway, we were supposed to be talking about time travel. So let's get back to what we're meant to be waffling on about, rather than going on about our current pandemic and our chief officers, which, by the way, my personal view, should all become sirs or lords. Lord Chris Whitty, I think he deserves it. I think he's done a good job. I don't really know him, but I'm sure, the work that the NHS and these scientists have done has been incredible. And salute you, man. Anyway, I'm sure we'll see that. I'm sure he'll be really pleased. Anyway, back to time travel. So we want to go back and see William Shakespeare. Don't know why. Personally, I think his plays were a bit overrated, but, not really being a reader, I wouldn't know. I don't mind an audio book, but, that's personal preference. Anyway, so you go back to find William Shakespeare. How do you know you're even going to be understood? So imagine, I don't know if anyone of you have seen Arsenal TV, but there are some absolute pillocks on there. Let's be fair, they support Arsenal, so they're going to be, aren't they? But, they go there and they go, oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying, blood. Yeah, fam. You know what I mean? You get me, fam, and all that malarkey. How the hell would someone from, when was Shakespeare alive? 17th, 18th century? How would they possibly understand Mr. Famalam? Yeah, I don't think they would, because the dialect, even, you know, we are supposed to speak English. Let's look how the Americans have butchered it. The Australians, you know, every country and every part of that country will have their own dialect. So I've done a video before about, you know, learning French at school, and nobody speaks like that. You know, you do GCSE or whatever the equivalent is in whatever country you're listening to this in. Don't know what the GCSE is in Australia, Bill. I'm sure you could let me know in a comment. That would be great. Not sure what it is in America, but I think they go to college in America, which is like our high schools, which we know as a senior school. But I don't really know. I think college system in the States is a bit like university as well. It's all a bit confusing to me. So in the UK, we have infants and juniors, which could be a primary school. So they're both together. If not, it's an infant and it's a juniors. Then we have secondary education, which is when you start to do your exams like GCSEs. So that is our base exam system. Then we have A levels or BTECs. You can also, in secondary school, do a BTEC, to be fair. They do BTECs, more GCSEs, but GCSEs and BTECs. Then you can do the higher BTEC and MVQs or A levels or AS levels if you just do the 1 year. Or you can be really smart and do a 2-year course over 1 year. You know, only smarties like Beth can do that. But, you know, that is then the next level. And then you have the university where you get your degrees. Then you get your masters and your hires, and it all gets a bit confusing for me. Not really one who's going to get hires or masters is this idiot. Not even going to get a degree, because what good would that do me? I'm a bit thick. But, you know, I do make entertaining waffle off of the internet, according to my 2 fans. How you doing, Neil? Hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying this video. You know, don't be too busy today, will you? Taking your nap and waiting for your wife to come home from work and then get up, put the bin out and make out that you've cleaned the whole house. We all do it, my friend. We all do it. You're doing a good job there. Just make sure that that sofa doesn't sag too much and the dog doesn't lick the honey off your balls for too long. Anyway, going back to time travel. That's what this bizarre video is all about. When it gets random, it's going to get proper random. And I know my old mate, Blandy, you'll be pleased with this one because it's got random. Anyway, I hope some people actually watch this one because, you know, it's content. I don't just think this shit up, you know. Actually, yeah, there's no script to this one. Oh yeah, I did think this one up. Not really sure where it's going. Not really sure how long it's going to go on for or where it's going to end. Anyway, Pirates of the Caribbean. That's the back of it. Like I say, about 10 years old, this cup. It still works. Like a cup should. Need more coffee. You know, it's early. Get up in the morning, you have your cup of tea and your breakfast, then you have a coffee. That's the way my day normally works. When I'm working at the pub, I haven't done that for a while. Get up in the morning, have my cup of tea and my porridge normally, if I'm working. Then go off to work and have my coffee. Hopefully no pillocks turn the coffee machine off. Obviously, when we do go back, first thing is got to turn the coffee machine on because no idiot would have gone in the day before and done it. But why would they? Hopefully then the water works. Must remember to flush that through first. Don't really want all that deadly bacteria in there. Also must remember to every week make sure every tap in the building is run to get rid of some bacteria because you don't want to be drinking stagnant water. Anyway, getting back to time travel. Do you sort of feel that you're in some sort of paradox at the moment and it just keeps going back and back? Yep. I've got you stuck now. You're here to the end. Anyway, so you go back and you eventually find... How are you going to find him anyway? Because, you know, you get pictures of people off of the past, but it's an oil painting, you know, and let's be fair, Some oil paintings are better than others. You go to the, I don't know, is it the National Art Museum, the one in London, outside of, outside it's got the place where the pigeons is, you know, with Nelson's Common and all that. Anyway, there's a art museum there. You go in there, and some of the artists are bonkers. Some of them are brilliant, but you know, if you're looking for Will Shakespeare, and you've got a Picasso painting, yeah, I don't think he looks quite like that. It's not exactly a passport photo, is it? When you actually analyse these pictures from off of the past, don't really understand why it's now gone to art, but it has. But hey, that's random for you. When it comes to art, you have got to be kidding when it comes to the proportions of these bodies. You know, some of these arms are really, really long. Some of them have got strange joints in. And, you know, some of the coloration, it's weird. Anyway, so I'm not sure we're actually even going to know what Will looks like. Because if he's got a big beard and this funny little moustache, I might even be thinking of Guy Fawkes here. That's how close they look. Everyone looked like it because that was the look. You didn't have, you know, you can't go and get your Gillette five razor shave like we have nowadays so we can get a nice clean shave. Obviously, didn't shave today, but, you know, this is the thing. You know, you just don't know what he's going to look like. I suppose when you hear some prat waffling away at some place, but even London, you know, you go to London today, wouldn't recommend it, but you go up to London today and look around, and I tell you what you could do. You could watch James Bond films. The bits which they do in London and on the river's brilliant for this. If you watch those films, London has changed so much. You know, you go back 200 years, it's a different place because you got to think the Blitz happened in the 40s where these thousands and thousands of bombs were bombed on London. London was destroyed and then it got rebuilt. It's like you go to places in Germany and, you know, let's not make out that it was all bad from the Germans because the British, all right, I'm British and I appreciate that we won the war, but we did to them what they did to us. Does that make us any better? One of the funniest things you could possibly see is Mitchell and Webb. I don't know if you've seen the bit with the German officers and Mitchell goes over to Webb and goes, "Are we the bad guys?" Because they got the skulls. Because skulls aren't friendly. Skulls aren't nice. You know, generally the skulls are the bad guys. Are we the bad guys? So, you know, let's not pretend that I am defending the Nazis, because I'm certainly not defending the Nazis. But they didn't have a choice, the Germans. You know, you were either a Nazi, you were sent to Dachau or places like this. And you don't really, you know, I'm not going to go now into the history, but imagine that. You know, imagine if you were a Jewish person, which I'm not, and I'm not going to start any racial wars here because that's not what I'm about. I don't care what religion you are. But imagine you get in this time machine and you were a Jewish person and you went back to 1930s or early 1940s to certain places in Europe. Yeah, you don't want to be there, do you? You know, what happened then was horrific. So, but it's not just the language or the hygiene or the hate. You've also got to think of the level of carbon monoxide and oxygen, because that's also changed throughout the years. When you go back millions of years ago, we used to have these giant bugs because the oxygen was so much higher in the atmosphere. You know, we wouldn't survive in places like this because, you know, our body is used to what we've got outside. And yeah, there is way too much pollution going on, but, you know, this is where we live. And it will be the same going forward. You know, let's not kid ourselves. Who's to say in 100 years' time the oxygen level could be a lot higher or could be a lot lower? sea levels are allegedly rising. No, allegedly about that, they are. Someone tell Donald, you know. But we're not going to get political here, so we're not going to bring Donald Trump into it, although he is obviously good fun to poke a stick at and laugh at because the man's a pillock. But, that's America, and we're not going to worry about America at the moment. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I had a little mark there. Thought I'd scare you all up. There goes. Another hand. It's really funny how big your hands can get. And look. But, that's part of the fun. I don't know what you're all thinking now. Hey, Andy, this video's gone over 20 minutes, mate, and all it is you waffling on about some random stuff. Well, let's be fair, what else have you got to do today? Thought I'd give you something to cherish and something to enjoy. Well, listen to me waffle on for a bit. Anyway, at least it's something to scare your kids with, if nothing else. But, getting back to Time Machine then. I think that's what we were talking about at the beginning. Well, apart from my little trip story. Everyone likes a tip story, and, I think that one was a bit funny. It was funnier in my head, though. I don't think I really gave it quite what it should be, but I just remember that Pacific trip to, quite literally a trip to the tip. So, yeah, time machines. We wouldn't understand each other. I'd rather stay here because medicine, let's be fair, is better. You go back 100 years, they had the Spanish flu. Yeah, they didn't understand how to save themselves there so well, did they? 10 million died from that. Coronavirus is bad, but we've got very talented physicians nowadays, doctors and nurses, and incredible scientists who are, putting all into helping us out of this. As I say, I do have my vaccine on Friday, which I'm looking forward to getting, which I see as a good news. No hesitation, book that straight away. And I will say again to the 4 people who will probably watch this, make sure you get your vaccines. Anyway, I hope you like this random rubbish. I will try and get another one on Friday. Might do me Iron Maiden review on Friday as well, which is something I'm sure you're all looking forward to, all you Maiden fans out there. They were, of course, made in England. Thank you very much. Please do leave a comment. Tell me how much of an idiot I am and how I just waffle on and what nonsense I talk about. Always pleased to hear what you think. So do leave a comment. Do give me a thumbs up. And, share this rubbish on your social media. It would be a big thumbs up from me. Oh, I do love, by the way, my current job as a delivery man. The old people, they give a thumbs up and you think, what are you doing? Anyway, that's it. 23 and a half minutes of me waffling on, I think, will do you people enough. Anyway, so it was lovely talking to you. Stay safe. Try not to catch COVID if you can help it. And see ya, pals!